Well, hello everybody. I'm going to give a few minutes to let people log on. I have some terrible news, really, in my personal life to go through, and it's been very hard. I've actually taken the last 24 hours talking to party insiders and those closest to what we're working on. Reached out to a lot of people to let them know what's going on with me and where I'm at. And I want to make that statement for everybody. It's the explanation of what's happening and where the party has to go, and I can't continue on. And it was shocking. It was kind of at one point I'd taken days off from work, quite a few, but one of those days, the final day, in fact, I had an appointment for my daughter, my one daughter. For those who know me closely, many years ago when I was married, my youngest daughter, she was born with some serious defects, and it's been a long road. She's an incredible child, strong. She went through many surgeries, many more surgeries than a person should go through, let alone a child. She's very strong, and with that, there's been a lot of costs, and I'm going to go through that today and what transpired here on the 31st, and an appointment with the surgical team. So many years ago, like a lot of women out there, there's a condition, postpartum depression, that can happen. And before I get into this, I'm being honest here, and this honesty is going to cost me too, personally and other. Everything you do has a consequence, but I believe in the truth, and I've had a lot of people give me advice. I've taken over the last 24 hours, and I didn't, I had to take my time to really think about how I was going to articulate everything and get it right for everybody's sake. And so my youngest daughter was born with some serious defects, and my ex-wife at the time was suffering postpartum depression, and her family doctor, prescribed her a specific medication. And the problem is, if you're pregnant, you can't be on this medication. Now, this medication has gone through the ringer in lawsuits, at least in the United States of America. And in Canada, that doesn't happen. We have a Canadian Medical Association and provincial medical associations. You'll find that a doctor, by definition in Canada, isn't liable for malpractice or serious mistakes they make. And unfortunately, with this particular drug, for many years, after many of these defects well logged throughout the United States, the FDA suspended it and said, you never this to a pregnant woman. Well, a lot of Canadian doctors seemingly didn't get the memo, and unfortunately for my family in that situation, that's what happened to us and my youngest daughter. And I guess we can be thankful she wasn't born a male. Males, typically with that drug, were born with serious heart defects. Most did not survive the first year of their life. Now, for females, on the other hand, female children and the anatomy of females comes with some facial deformities and there's six attached. She got 5 out of 6, and we had to put her through a program. At the time, we weren't made aware of it. You were made to feel bad. I remember going in for assessments, and nurses, and then I even had nurses and people in the Alberta healthcare system. You should get fixed. There's something wrong with your genetics, blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't have children. I remember feeling bad about that, and I know my ex took it pretty bad too. We both did, and it was really hard for a number of years. And then, lo and behold, in the United States, I was actually at work up north working at Suncor, and this was I think about 12 years ago, and my youngest was already a toddler at the time, and we'd gone through pretty strenuous financial hits and others with that came with that, and then just the stress of everything. And we were under a lot of strain before our divorce, and this was just one other thing. And I remember I was at Suncor, and I remember doing an orientation, and just like that on one of the TVs, they said, "Were you a family that went through this? Did these number of defects happen to your child? Was your wife put on this medication?" Of course, that was us. And I was shocked because I'd never heard of that before. And of course, I contacted that legal team in the States, went through all of it just to find out, "We're sorry, we can't help you. There's no way to sue in Canada. This is only an American thing." Even malpractice, which was what we fell into. We were one of the families that fell into malpractice, and it was that doctor's fault. The doctor took a drug that they didn't research, and they put my ex on, and it caused some serious issues for my daughter. Now, when all that came out, I was very upset. I was upset with the ministry. I flew off the handle, of course. I think a lot of people would. There was a lot of cost already associated at that point. But not what's hit me today. And, so over the years, every other year, a date comes up, a surgery has to happen. So much the government covers, the other you got to cover. And it's been fairly manageable. At first it was pretty tough, but over the years I've gotten used to it, and I expect a certain level of financial, and I kind of expected this time too. We're nearly at the end of her surgeries, supposed to be at the end, and we were looking at some implants and a few other things, but I didn't think it would cost anything to what had transpired here on the 31st. And so I sat down with surgeons. There's been complications, and in fact, many more surgeries have to happen, and they have to happen relatively very quickly. Bone grafts and other things have happened over the last few years as we're leading up to what was to be closure on this. Didn't keep up with the growth rate as the rest of her face and anatomy, and she grew rather quickly through puberty, and now there's issues with that work. There's all kinds of corrections that have to be made. They have to be made relatively quickly, and it's a 2-year window, and it's a substantial amount of money, folks. To put it in perspective, it's more than I had planned for politics. It's my Florida and what I had planned to do with Florida this year. It's all gone. It's literally all gone. And as I was going through it on the 31st, and the surgeon team, and they're an American team, by the way, so there isn't getting a second opinion in Canada. It's all there is. It's all there is. And I mean, I went through it, and I'm like, you guys, like, how much is this going to cost me? Like, this sounds extremely substantial, and this is nothing that we had talked about even years ago in our program, and now all of a sudden we're at today. You're telling me all these issues didn't work out, and now massive surgeries have to happen, major corrections, more implants, all kinds of stuff. And sure enough, they gave me what the government's going to cover and what I'm going to have to cover. And of course, what I'm going to have to cover is massive. It's massive. It's many, many times more than I've ever paid before. And it has to be done. It has to be done in the course of 1 year. I have to pay so much. And then there's just a amount after that, another year, as she's healing from this first round, that you have to get done in order to get the second round. And you can't go into adulthood with this. So my window is these 2 years. They've rolled out a mass amount of money I got to come up with year after year. And it's my girl. It's my youngest, my baby girl, who, as bad as all this story I'm telling you, what she's went through in pain and suffering and the works throughout her first 16 years. I couldn't imagine. I've never known anyone to go through that. I can't imagine. I've had teeth issues, self-inflicted, and I think, the pain of all that and over the years and some other things. And I mean, it is nothing in comparison to what that little girl's been through. And, you never want to see any child go through that. She's tough. But self-esteem and all of that, folks, it's my baby girl. And the forms roll out. I had 3 forms, 3 different things I've agreed to that I got to pay. And I signed it. I knew it meant Florida. I knew it meant my political party. I'm just not going to have any money. There's not going to be any time for me except for work. And that means an aggressive schedule, working pretty much 7 days a week, as much as I can for my whole season, having to find winter employment at the same aggressive schedule. I'm not even sure how I'm going to get it all done. I pay other payments. I'm not going to get into my financial situation, but I'm divorced, so I think people can imagine. But to come up with this kind of money faithfully is a challenge in itself, and it's going to eat all my time. Not only all my time, it's going to eat all my resources. It's a sentence. And, I'm sorry. It's life. And, it upsets me. I remember the government ministry promising me when I flew off the handle after that, oh, we're going to take care of everything. Don't you worry. It's not going to cost you anything. And over these last 16 years, again and again, lie after lie after lie, because that's all the government does. I don't listen to conservative, liberal NDP. People talk about Canada and our medicine and our medical, and you have free health care. I'm sorry, but for most of my adult life working, there's been nothing free about it for me. I've seen it with other people. Canada and its health system's great. If you break a leg or you have blunt force trauma, immediate things that can be rectified now in emergency situation, no problem. Have a child with no issues, no problem. Most things, no problem. You could say, yeah, great, wonderful. But if you get a disease or you go and you step out the norm of averages of what people go through, and then a lot of older folks find out in their old age that the system really is not there for you. And when you require the major things or the things outside of the norm that the system's designed for, you find it's actually extremely piss poor. And you're going to be paying out your yin-yang. And then you start to look at your taxes. Like myself, I've always worked my whole life. When people talk to me or accuse me of socialism, it's like, you have no idea. And I'm not whining here, folks, because as bad as it is for me and what's happened to my family over the years, and it's what my daughter goes through, it's what she goes through, and just how bad that is. And as a father, you just can't, say no to something like that. You have to buck up. You've got to commit to it, because I'm all she has, and I'm that financial resource to see it done. And that's what I have to do, and that's what I'm going to do. Does it bother me that, the doctor that is the malpractice has a nice practice in Edmonton, Alberta, owns their own practice. Children are all in the U of A doing extremely well. They have a beautiful house on Saskatchewan Drive. And I've probably, in the last 16 years, bought several expensive cars for several individuals, whereas I don't ever get anything like that. And I work hard. As members of my family do too. But, this is what's happened. And unfortunately, things didn't work out that they were supposed to work out. And now there's a lot of surgeries, a lot of extras that are not covered in any way, shape, or form. And the bills are substantial. And I can't do the politics. I can't even do my Florida. My Florida is on hold for the next 2 to 3 years. So, I'm sorry, everybody, but that's what's happened. Again, I talked to a lot of party insiders, a lot of people know, but this is as far as I can go, and I have to aggressively now focus on my employment, focus on as much overtime as I can collect, and just pound it hard as I can for the next 2 years. And that's sad. It's sad. A lot of dreams, aspirations, a lot of extreme amounts of work, research, and even expense all over Canada and even beyond. And I mean, it's been a great adventure, but it's over for me. My part in this for now, for the next few years, is over. And what does that mean? What does it mean? It means we need people to come together if they want this party to continue and take this work forward. It means finishing. I have nearly 1,000 signatures, a stack like this, all signed, sealed from one end of Canada to the other. It means a website, which I was prepared to do. It means a certified accountant. It means organizing the board and the civil society. I think the cost is about $14,000, but the amount of legwork, the across Canada, was way much more than that. Like, this is expensive, but it's to get all that work done across Canada, to go to all these events and these major things, the investment in time, research, the building, it's much more than that. And I know I was prepared here. I'm almost at my level of what I needed for this fall. But folks, that's all going to get diverted. And then even much more than that. My Florida is gone. There's no way that's going to happen. And even this winter, I will have to work aggressively just to keep that money there and add more to the pile that is going to go away. And it's too bad. People have been, lots of folks, we'll start a GoFundMe, we'll do this. My daughter doesn't want the attention. My ex doesn't want to see her name on anything, doesn't want that pushed forward. It's what it is, and I don't want to be hated for it. And then I get it. I think we can all look at our time. She's in high school now. I don't think, people want, like, if you're in that situation, your kid, you don't want the attention, you don't want all that. And I understand that. Even this video is probably going to cause me some level of stress there, but it's and damage to relationships. But I have commitments and I've done a whole lot, and people deserve to know why, and that's what I'm telling you why. And I think, this is a very good portion of why I have so much of a hard time with the government, because I've seen them all come and go throughout this part of my life, and I've never seen anybody do anything but take, talk turkey of our great and powerful system. But if you ever find yourself on the other side of that, or you're the one on your knees going, help, you'll find the politicians kick you in the face as hard as they possibly can. If you're in a minority group of folks, you get swept aside. It's not big news. It's nothing. You're garbage. You're nobody. You're a dirtbag working class. And that is the system. It was conservative. It was NDP. It's been all of them. I've never seen a politician ever do anything except for their own self-fulfilling glory. If it's something popular in the electorate, they jump on it. But otherwise, common decency out the window. They'll run you over. And, it's sad. I'm sorry, everybody. I truly am. I didn't expect any of this. It was May 31st. I won't forget anytime soon. And I truly was numb. I was numb for the last 24 hours. I'm still quite upset. I think a lot of emotions running wild. Like I was sitting there thinking I'd do this video and, talk about politicians and say, see this Q-tip? Like that's where I'm at. Just that little thin, break it just like that. Just snap, and you think what you'd do to a politician who came knocking on my door in the next 2 years. Can you imagine? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, can you donate to us? Can you support me? It's like, how about, I beat your face off, all of them, and it's just, it's sad, it's sick, and I know more than this. I tried to reach out, one politician, some other, pretty impressive community folks. None of them want to get involved. I mean, the one won't even return my call, right? Brief talk and yeah, I'll get back to you, yeah. And of course, none of it. And I think, do I turn the party over to somebody like that who can't even return calls and is notorious for that? And it's no, so what I'm leaving everybody with is a goodbye. You're going to see my Facebook go down. I'm not leaving, but you're going to see my activity go down. And if there's anybody out there or a group of you that can get together, and if you guys can raise 14 grand for the party registration, remember, we have a signature drive right across Canada. That legwork's done. You're looking at a 5-member board of a civil society. Societies Act, you got to register. There's a chartered accountant that has to be hired, put on retainer, and signed on with your forms. That's a federal requirement that you have to have. And there's a website, and that all has to go in here this fall. And, if there's a group of you that wants to get together and do that, if you guys want to appoint a leader, if any of you can do that in the commissions and in private, I say do it, because I'm not going to be able to put much energy into this at this point for a number of years. I talked to Dr. Richard Albert, a number of academics, and they're saying, I think you'll get through it. You'll figure this out and you'll be back in a couple of years. But folks, the signature drive, it has to be cashed in this year. People move on. And I think already we've lost a few. And, I think if you get half back, it's a great starting point, and at least you have a party registered. And I know money costs. I know it's hard to all put in money. I don't want money raised for me. It's substantial, folks. What I want raised is the 14,000 for the party. I want you guys to come together and do that and get that together, and we'll see how I finish this off by June of 2025. That's my scheduled regime for these payments and these surgeries, 2 years of it till June of 2025. And I have to have it all in. I have to have this year and next year, and that means focusing everything on work and to a large scale, and that's a pretty tall order, and that's what I got to do. But again, that's what I want to see, is everybody get together and get that money and that commitment together and get the party registered. Appoint a leader or come together and vote one in yourselves. That's what I'd like to see, because again, I know my daughter doesn't want to see anything in her name. She doesn't want the attention drawn. My ex has been adamant about that. I don't even know how this video is going to go, but I didn't want to leave people like I've left because I quit, or, it's my daughter, and it's unfortunate that it turned out this way. It really is. I didn't see this coming. I thought they had good news for me. We expected this to be our last round, and now that's not the case, and now it's whopping, it's huge, and I'm just, for an average person, it's a mass amount, and I gotta push hard. I gotta push harder than I've ever pushed in a very long time, and I'm not a young man, but you do what you got to do for your family and for your kids, and that's what I'm going to do. So again, if everybody can get together and everybody can do that much, that's what has to be done. Get the party registered, get the 2 small boards built, get the website. If you can do that, you've done a phenomenal feat. And maybe in 2025, things will look better for me, but as it stands for now, it isn't. And it's a hard, painful road ahead, and that's the reality of it. So I love you all. My activity is going to go down. I'm going to take on a lot more hours. I'm going to be pushing job after job. I'm canceling all my plans this year, literally all of them. No trips, no holidays, not much of anything. Just work extremely hard and bank up that role. Love you all, and I'm so sorry, but this is life. This is life of an average Joe, the average Jane, and you don't see this talked about. That's real life. We look at Trudeau, Poilievre. I had a video shared. They're 2 pigs at the trough, privileged, high society liars. And they had a fight in Parliament, and it was funny because Trudeau was getting dogged by Poilievre about being useless, and which he is. But so's Poilievre, and Trudeau hit him back and said, why don't you tell everybody your job before joining this Parliament? And the answer is Pierre Poilievre doesn't have any jobs. Pierre Poilievre has 0 jobs. You can go look it up. He's never been employed except for 15 months for the political party, hired in his early 20s because he couldn't get a job in the real world. Now, Justin Trudeau's the same thing. A part-time drama teacher, majored in drama himself. Well, Pierre Poilievre is no financial guru. He's got an arts degree with a major in theater. He couldn't even get a job anywhere, and he was useless. You can go look at his earlier career. The Conservatives, Liberals, all the parties take know-nothing rejects who don't fit anywhere else, that can be trained into professional liars, sell all the lies to the people without batting an eye. That's their only job. Professional liar, actor, theater major. You will find this, Canadians, over and over and over again with all your party leaders. Look at Jagmeet Singh. Sure, he's a lawyer, but go look at his work experience, his life. And you can go on and on and on, and you will find all of these people, all these high society crown appointments are know-nothing, never done, professional actors, theater, drama, professionals who only went to school and right into politics, never ever built any real career, never learned about life as it really is, definitely never lived the life we all live. They've never dealt with consequences. They've only dealt with the divine socialism, meaning they've been raised from a very early age that you, the filthy subject taxpayers, are beneath them, and your money is theirs to exploit as hard and as proudly as they can, and turn around and tell you how bad the other one is from the other party, yet they have been living on the taxpayers' tit like a high society welfare bum. They've never had a job, not really a real one. They've never done anything with their lives except for exploit the taxpayers, the low-life, dirty subjects, and savages, as they're constitutionally defined. These guys have all guys and gals, have all been brought up to lie, cheat, and steal. Daniel Smith was grabbed early. Rachel Notley was raised in with their father, Grant Notley, where all of his triumphs are not his daughter. She's another silver-spooned liar. It's about what she can get. If you've ever sat down with her for a half an hour, you'll find out what I just said is true. Daniel Smith's another one. People say, oh no, but she did her radio show. All set up, all staged by the Conservative Party. She was put there. She was a PC crossover. She was brought into politics with the Conservatives at a very young age. All of these, Jason Kenney, we can go on and on. You can grab them all. You will find leader after leader never had a real job outside of some kind of job that had to do with crafting their skill of public manipulation and propaganda, and mastering their skill as a professional liar, an actor, a theater major, a radio personality, a journalist in Canada. That should really make you laugh. You should see how many journalists run your life, run your finances. Professional, divine socialists, again, who get paid to lie to you. It's sick. It's disturbing. I don't know why more Canadians can't wake up. But my portion of this is now on hold for 2 years, folks. And again, I'm sorry. I love you all. Thank you for the support and loyalty. But somebody else, a group of you, is going to have to take this forward. I've talked to a lot of you. I know there's a lot of phone calls I had to make, but I hope this circulates, this video, and everybody gets it out there. For the next 2 years, my involvement is going to be very bare bones minimum. My activity online is going to be bare bones minimum. It's all work for me. Back to the real world. Not that I ever left it, but I'm really going to be working and toiling, and there isn't going to be time for anything. And that's my video. And again, I'm so sorry, everybody. God bless. Bye now.